I think
Get
we're
out
live.
of here. That's Jason Fisher, the tournament director for the Lake Erie Walleye Tournament Trail. When he caught Jake and his partner cheating, you know, if you remember the video, he says, "Get the F out of here." He said that's like the only thing he regrets is the F word when he threw him out. He said right after he did it, it reminded him of an umpire, a Major League Baseball umpire, throwing someone out. Get out of here! You're out of here!
Yeah.
Well, I'll
So-
tell you, them guys, they're banished for life. I mean,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I've never seen nothing. I mean, not just fishing. I've never seen anything go as viral and as quick as that video did. It was on the NBC News. It was on ABC News this morning. It's just amazing. There's no telling how many times that video, how many millions of times that video has been viewed.
I like the old boy. He just stood there and didn't have nothing to say, dude.
I know, right? He's just mumbling, face drooping.
What can he say?
You know, success. You know, being successful in a tournament like that. I mean, do y'all see that? Like where the same people win all the time? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I know a guy that does. Peter Malik. So Peter, you being one of the only guys I know, if not the only guy I know, that actually has very consistent success in tournaments. Have you ever been accused of cheating?
Absolutely, yes, especially after this year. Just to go back here really quick. So the hybrid tournaments on Lake Norman, it's gone on for 4 years strong. Okay. The first year I won it. The second year, I think I missed it because of work training. The third year, I got second. And then the most recent year here, back in February, I won that one. And to go back, the other tournament that was held on High Rock Lake, I won that one. So I've been very consistent on the wintertime. Okay. Now, mind you, it's my local area. Of course, it's a different fishery elsewhere. And I'll probably get my ass whooped in fucking Murray or somewhere else, you know. But it's all about consistency in the wintertime. You know, I know how to get it done out here.
So would you be okay if they were to implement some kind of measures to where
100% yes.
But you know, it's one thing for someone to like accuse you of cheating. It's another thing to actually go to the tournament director and say, "Hey, I think Peter Malik's cheating. This is what I think he's doing.
Yeah.
This is what should be done about it. Let's at least give him a polygraph."
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you be on board with that?
100%. Oh yeah, sure thing. Just to go back, I never had any issue with anyone accusing me of anything up until this most recent one, and it seems to be a very small clique of guys that don't accept the fact that they got their ass kicked again, kind of thing. It's the same guys that complain over and over and over again. And you guys wouldn't know them, honestly. They're more so the Yadkin clique, kind of, sort of. But the same 3 or 4 guys that really love to stir the pot. You know, every group has got those guys, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I was accused on this most recent one. And it didn't happen the day of, but like all of a sudden, 2-3 days later, you know, I started getting text messages, this and that. And I heard everything from fish cages to no one checked my live well to someone gave me fish to I heard every damn thing. And all of it's ridiculous. And to add insult to injury, number one, I released my fish alive. Okay. They all went back alive. Number two, I proved it with and I still have on my phone here, a timestamp, because I caught those fish bang, 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 all 4 within a 20-minute window and then nothing. But I proved it with a photo of those fish. Nice. I had to prove it to some of these folks. Had a picture of the fish in my live well with a timestamp, and they looked absolutely healthy in there, like nothing ever happened. But I hadn't heard it for a while, but yeah.
Scott, you've won a points championship on tournaments, and
2 in a row.
Have you ever witnessed or been part of knowing or seeing someone accused of cheating in a tournament?
Well, I've been tournament director. I was tournament director for 2 years, and I dealt with the same thing that just happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We had
lead in the belly, the old school lead in the belly trick.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Well, I dealt with a couple things. One was a fish that it looked to be 3 or 4 days old. No color in the gills, cloudy eyes. And then we dealt with ice. People would put ice in the bellies.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
And
I've personally seen some folks push shad in the mouths of fish on purpose as well.
I've seen that at a tournament I was in, but I wasn't a tournament
That sounds
director.
like that would probably be about the safest way to cheat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of people, but the time with the lead is funny is the guys, some people released live fish and some had dead fish in the cooler. And at Striper Kings, there might be 30 boats, and somebody always had some big 120 quart coolers and was looking for fish fry for the church or whatever. And the guys, they threw all these fish in these big coolers. Well, then the next day, my phone started blowing up, and Jay Stockton, he got some of the fish, and he was filleting them up, and he cut one stomach open to see what it had been eating, and egg sinkers started falling out of it.
Yeah.
Well, did that person get like banned from
Well,
the tournament
You
trail?
don't know who it was.
That was the problem. He took pictures of the fish and weighed the fish for me, and I went back and looked, and I narrowed it down to 2 teams, and one team released their fish live, so it wasn't, just going by the weight of the fish. And so we didn't have enough proof to do much, but it was a team that never fished our tournament trail that came up from Georgia, and they did. It's funny is they finished like 15th, so I mean there was no money involved, but they weren't going to be allowed to fish any more tournaments.
I think that people expect the tournament director to like lay down the law a little too much. The tournament director can only do so much, right? I mean,
And I got a thing about being a tournament director is you do all this work and you put all this effort into it. Like me, I fished the tournaments too. So not only was I pre-fishing, getting my boat ready, getting my tackle ready, I'm also dealing with phone calls and trying to get all the money situated. And they don't get any money. So you're doing it for free. So it's like the worst job ever. But I was going back to what we did. Our tournaments pay they got up to like $2,000 to win. I mean, it's pretty good money. So that's when you started seeing more shady stuff going on because money.
right.
And so what we ended up doing was you would come up and weigh in, and when you weighed in, I can't remember I think you rolled dice or you flipped a coin, and if it was predetermined if it was odd or even whether we cut your fish if it was dead, because we didn't have time or the resources to cut every fish.
Well, you kind of answered my next question when you mentioned the money is when the cheating started. So I was going to ask, do you think it's more ego, or do you think it's more about the money? Or is it that the tournaments that pay the more money are the more prestigious tournaments, which therein lies the bigger ego tournaments? So
Everything in this world goes back to money.
And I want to say the contrary. I think most of this is ego, honestly.
Money.
I agree. I think it's more ego than anything. I think it's I won the SBC, beat my chest.
Yeah.
If it weren't for ego, I don't think any of us would even fish.
I'd rather have the $30,000 and let them think somebody else won.
That's really why we, especially as us trophy fishermen, I think it's got a lot to do with the ego.
Yeah. I mean, for me, for example, like I'm battling 5 or 6 or 8 of the guys on Lake Norman that are regular fishermen on Norman, full time. Mind you, in a field of 40 or 50, whatever it was. So it's like, who's top dog this year? It's not always a bragging rights. I'm not saying I'm all about the ego and everything, but it's like a rite of passage. Like you won this damn thing this year again, so now you're top dog on Lake Norman.
You want to win Monopoly or cars or anything. Yeah. It's competition. People fish.
Not only that, me guiding on the side as well. It kind of puts out a good name on the guide side because you're fucking doing pretty good.
It's like
bigger fish.
Like the best memory I have of ever netting a fish was a 27-pound striper at Clark's Hill in a tournament. It wasn't a 40-some pounder in Tennessee, because there's when you put it in a tournament and on that, I mean, it takes you to a whole new level when you put that fish in the boat.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
That's when, it's like, it'll make you cry. Like
Yes.
it's like a feel good moment. It's just,
Well,
yes,
look,
it's like
y'all-
everything coming together. I worked so hard,
So all the pre-fishing, the bait prep, everything paid off for that moment.
I get to show up to the weigh-in with some respect.
That way, when you go to a weigh-in and me personally, if I had a good fish, I'd wait. Everybody at Striper Kings, they line up, and you weigh in as you line up. They didn't have a certain weigh-in time or nothing, and I'd wait to the end, and then you pull this big monster out, Yeah, it makes you feel good. You got your peers. You're fishing against people that are on your level, and when you happen to beat them, it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess. Go ahead, Wes.
Y'all keep all the prestige and all the honor and all the, hey, I won this tournament, and give me the damn money.
But then again, I will say that 2 days later, it's all over. You're back to grinding to the next lake. I mean, it don't last long, but
Yeah.
If you think about
Money
it,
lasts longer than prestige.
if you are a tournament director and you got some anglers accusing another angler of cheating, and that's a very slippery slope, because you have to decide, do I want to accuse these anglers of cheating, and give them a polygraph, check their fish, and what have you, and risk being, because what if you're wrong? If you're wrong, then there goes your circuit. Like,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
I don't necessarily think so. I think what you got to do is, what I would do is, it can't be one guy with a grudge. I mean, if I'd had several guys that have been in the club for a long time and they've seen a lot of things, and I mean, I don't know if I was questioned. If I was cheating and I was proven that I didn't, I don't.
Oh, Mercer, you missed the whole conversation, I'd say about 5 minutes ago, at the whole Lake Norman situation. And I'll say that Mercer is one of the few folks that pretty much told everyone in kind terms, shut the F up. I'll watch the fish swim away. So, yeah.
I'd say when I got, and I'll tell you, it's 90% luck, but the last points championship I won, they had, I think it was like 4 tournaments on Hartwell, 3 on Murray, 4 on Clarks Hill. Like, I won every Hartwell tournament, and I won several of the other ones. And I mean, I was even going, like, telling Sumo, one of the last tournaments we caught 3 20-pounders, like, before the sun came out of the trees, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna get kicked out of this damn club because there's no way you can be this damn lucky.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to.
So,
that's the way it's gonna be when I get in that next hybrid striped bass challenge. And
come on, baby.
Alex ass.
Come on, baby. Hey, jump in my damn boat. See, one of my issues is I fish alone on tournaments, and it's not because I want to do things alone. It's like anything else. You guys fish tournaments. You got to have a partner that you absolutely click with. And I don't.
That's impossible. I think that's impossible. I've fished tournaments, and every time I've ever fished a tournament with a partner, I've always went home thinking I could have done better.
Yeah,
if I would have been by myself.
So I had a partner years ago, and we kind of sort of went our separate ways because we didn't, it's like, contradicting yourself. You're doing something. No, we should do this. Shut the F up. This is my boat.
I think eventually, I'm hoping that eventually, we develop chemistry, and I think you just have to give it time. I'm hopeful that, because I fished with Alan and his brother Wes, and they didn't like that I was throwing big baits. They didn't like trolling. I wanted to troll. They wanted to anchor. They didn't like that I was throwing big baits. They wanted to throw smaller baits. They didn't really like the areas that I had chose to fish. They wanted to fish areas that they wanted to fish. I mean, it was just constant.
Yeah,
one right after another.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
that's why I choose to fish by myself on most of these tournaments.
But I think that it's encouraged to have. They encourage you to have a partner. Because if you do win, there's always that. He was by himself. Did he cheat?
Exactly.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
I had a great partner because we were like opposites. I would be like, "What do you want to? You want to do? You want to go down here and pull bait? You want to go up here?" And he's like, "I don't know. Every time I say something, it don't work out." So we worked great together. Never had an issue with the partner.
Well, when you stink it up, because my partner, we got home and he sent me a link to a Carolina Sportsman article, Roger Taylor's Carolina Sportsman article on fishing Lake Wiley for catfish. He's like, "Hey man, this guy makes some pretty valid points, man. I think that we should do some of this stuff that he's." And I'm thinking to myself, I know more than that guy. I mean, are you really looking at a Carolina Sportsman article trying to give me we're going to base what we do in a tournament based off of a Carolina Sportsman? I'm past that, bro. I'm way past that. But I don't want to tell him that, because then I'm going to come off as arrogant. And then if we go and we don't do well, then I'm really going to seem like an asshole. So,
well, you're going to have to tell him that you're not going to do well a lot of times if you're fishing for trophy fish. I mean, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Watery's not a trophy fishery, and I fished it as if it were a trophy fishery. I was throwing missiles, and when I didn't realize that. See, I wasn't that familiar with Watery, and when we got back to the weigh-in, I was looking at all the fish. And I think the big fish of the day was like 29 or 30 pounds, and there was a lot of dink fish, and I'm throwing gizzard shad, chunks of. I'm 15-inch gizzard shad. I'm getting 2 baits out of it. That's it. That's what.
Well, I'll tell you, when I tournament fish, I always, unless I was on really good fish pre-fishing, if we had a 3-fish weigh-in, my first thing was to get 3 fish.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I would upgrade, because if you got just 1 good fish, you'll get beat by 3 decent fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Walker, it was killing Walker that we wouldn't go to the bank of that creek that morning, wouldn't it?
Okay, one thing about some lakes too, and I'm sure Scott knows this. So one thing I look for pre-fishing, for tournaments especially, is on one part of the lake. Not important. One part of the lake, these fish might bite in the morning, but not bite in the afternoon. You go to another part of the lake, and they'll bite there in the afternoon, but they won't touch a damn thing in the morning. So when I pre-fish, that is one thing I'm looking for as well. And I'm kind of purposely throwing people off a little bit sometimes, because I get looked for all the time on Norm especially, and I'll go somewhere where I know they're not going to bite at, but I want to be seen there. So it's a game you got to play at the same time.
So what do you think about this, Scott? Partners, Tim Lindsay said, partners should alternate techniques per tournament.
I've never had a partner that was outspoken about wanting to do things their way. I don't know how that would work out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't work out too good with me and Walker.
What do you think about that, Wes, Peter? Like having a partner and alternating, like, okay, for the tournament's 8 hours, so for 4 hours, we're going to do what you want to do. And then for the next 4 hours, we're going to do what I want to do. I don't necessarily like that, because, maybe temporarily at first until you and your partner develop chemistry and start seeing eye to eye on things, maybe.
So I actually do that with a partner for crappie fishing tournaments. We'll alternate, we'll pre-fish together. And that I do have chemistry with the guy that we fish together all the time. And we do actually do that. We'll rotate every couple hours. Hey, it's not happening here. Where do you want to go? Let's go to this creek. So we'll go there. All right, my turn. Let's go in this cove here, So we'll alternate ideas back and forth, and we do pretty good together, us two.
I guess with striper fishing, it was different. Like, if you want to do good in tournaments, you got to pre-fish. So if my partner pre-fished with me, we're probably going to have the same damn idea. And if he didn't pre-fish with me, well, then screw you. I've been out here busting my ass. We're doing what I want to do. So
that's right. That's a good idea. That's a great point. That's a really good point, is to pre-fish. That's something that we didn't do on Watery because it's 2 hours away and we didn't feel like driving all the way out there to pre-fish.
Right.
So we ended up choosing the top half of the lake, and I think we probably should have chosen the bottom half of the lake. My partner wanted to fish current. We thought that there would be current upriver since, the hurricane and all the rain we got, and Watery being the last lake on the chain, that, we thought for sure there's going to be all kind of flow. But we got upriver that morning and there was no flow, like hardly any flow at all. We checked the schedule, and sure enough, the schedule wasn't scheduled to come on until like 9:30 that morning. And we didn't check the schedule until after we got on anchor. We seen suds in the water, that was just barely moving, about like the current would be like in front of South Point Landing, Peter.
Yeah.
And so we sat there for an hour, and then it was just We caught 2 fish. We couldn't even show up to the weigh-in with 3 fish. It was pathetic.
When I'd pre-fish, if I only had one day to pre-fish too, like we fished Murray, Clarksville, and Hartwell, so I kind of knew where the fish should be. And when I pre-fished, I always would pre-fish somewhere that I would never fish that tournament. Like I would fish way up the river, and then if that was the only day I had to pre-fish and nothing was there, I narrowed the lake down in half, so they were where I thought they were going to be.
Yep.
And
okay, Dennis Green. They aren't who we thought they were.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. You know, for me, stripe fishing on Lake Norman, for example, on a tournament day, you know, talking about partners and everything as well, I am more persistent than anything else. I know the fish are somewhere, and it's a matter of time before they bite. Like, they don't bite all day long in the wintertime. You know, sometimes it might be in the morning, sometimes in the evening, sometimes it's when that moon goes behind the tree line there, which I'm a big believer in the wintertime with the moon, by the way. So I'm more, you know, if I'm marking there and I'm seeing them rise off the bottom, I know it's almost time. And so for me, like I said, if I have a partner, he wants to go, you know, push over here, go to this creek, go to that creek, you know, and if you put your time in, you got to kind of narrow it down one little area. I'm going to probably stay there until something happens.
Yeah.
And
you know, one good thing about, you know, people striper tournaments, not having to really worry about cheaters as much, because stripers, it's so much harder to keep them alive. You know, it's not like a bass tournament where you can go out, throw them in a cage out there under the water, or throw them in your live well the day before. They're just not going to stay alive, right?
They're dead.
Yeah.
Then another thing about, well, we were talking about, since you're fishing this tournament pre-fishing, I learned more not catching fish, you know, pre-fishing.
Yeah,
No,
right.
not to be.
Because you're learning where to not go.
And
Yep.
I mean, it works out sometimes. Sometimes you go the way in and they say, I was up that creek that you pre-fished. And you're like,
What do y'all
That's
think
exactly
about? What do y'all think about what are some ways, some preventative measures to prevent cheating in tournaments? Like, I
Lie
was thinking
detectors,
today about a
lie
cameraman.
Lie detectors and bimetal detectors.
well,
So,
Detectors,
I think
yes.
no matter what, you're going to find someone that wants to cheat if they're going to cheat, plain and simple. You know, no matter what. I mean, give you an example right here. I was thinking about this. I'm like, you know what? If someone wants to wand fish, which is awesome, love the idea, but what's something that's not metallic that won't get picked up in a fish's gut? A fucking roll of pennies, you know? So someone might do that. It won't get picked up, you know? So there's always going to be a way.
Hang on, Peter. I'm pretty sure pennies have metal in them, right?
Yeah, metal detector will pick a penny up.
Oh, you know, but the concept is there. They're going to find something to damn stuff down a fish's fucking throat.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I mean, my thing is another fish, you know?
but like, I think if it's a dead fish weigh-in, I think there should be random gut checks. And I don't think they should know. I mean, if it's going to be odd or even, you should have to pick, so you can't get in line, you know? So you're like trying to figure out if you're going to be odd or even or whatever. Random gut checks. If it's a live fish weigh-in, I mean, you can't really do lie detectors with small tournaments because it's like $500 to bring a guy in, you know. So
Yeah,
I noticed some tournaments will actually say that they're going to give a polygraph and don't.
Yeah, just the threats there, I guess.
Yes.
tell you a little story, something I found at Norman one day as well. This is back in the early 2000s when I'm starting to learn the lake, you know, my own first little jumbo. You know, you think you're hot shit with that thing, so you're out there fishing every damn day just about. I actually found, you know, I was shooting dock for crappie, and I found 2 catfish that were tied up on a dock. And I actually caught a friend that's pretty big in the catfish game, not to mention any names. It's not Dieter Milhorn, by the way. And I'm like, is there a chance that there's a catfish tournament tomorrow? He's like, oh, yeah, this is major so on and so forth tournament. I'm like, oh, really? So I told him exactly what I'm seeing, where it's at and everything, and kind of sort of got his opinion on it. And he's not a tournament director by no means or anything. But at the same time, these catfish weren't big, man. They're like mid upper teen fish. I guess for Norman that might be big, especially that time, during 2005, whatever it was, you know. So he told me plain and simple, cut it off, you know, cut them off, let them swim off, and tell me where the dock's at, and I'll report it to Yeah, pretty cool.
I think that if I ever see that, I'm gonna notch the fins on those fish, and I'm gonna go to the weigh-in, and whoever weighs that fish in with that notched fin, busted.
Very true. Yeah, that's back then though, so I didn't have that train of thought there. But yeah, I told him about it, and he said, report that dock to his official, and if they want to follow a boat out there, kind of someone sit out there and watch it, maybe, good opportunity. But I have no idea what happened after that. So
Yeah.
I do notice that most people that would cheat, they usually end up giving themselves up eventually. I mean, you might lose 200 grand to them, but eventually they're gonna get cocky. They're gonna do something stupid. It's like NASCAR. They cheat NASCAR all the damn time. I mean, it's just.
What do you think about having a cameraman on the boat?
that'd be pretty cool. But if you gotta have enough folks that want to do it.
I mean,
the irony of that whole thing was they would have won the tournament without cheating. The weight they had without the weights, and they also had some fillets in the gut. But they would have won the tournament without the egg sinkers and the fillets in their gut.
Now,
they would
with
have
the
still
egg
won the
sinkers and the
tournament.
fillets, they had 33 pounds 9 ounces, and you're right, they would have won this tournament. But they had actually won 7 out of 10 tournaments last year, and I think they were team of the year this year, and so they've cheated before.
Well, let's be clear about something, though. I've heard people making comments on Facebook, or seen people making comments on Facebook. There's no way that they're going to prove that they cheated in any other tournament unless the dumbasses tell on themselves. People saying, well, they need to take that. They're not going to take none of them guys' money back. They're not going to take none of their prizes back because they can't prove it. The only thing they can do now is prove that they did what they did in this tournament. And I think they're going to be charged with fraud and a couple other things they can be charged with them. But what they've won in the past is done. They can't do nothing about it.
Jason Fisher, the tournament director of that trail, said that only one event this year that they did. There was only one event this year so far that they haven't cashed a check in.
Well, the thing about the worst, I mean, if you think about it, them guys lived for walleye fishing. They had sponsors. They loved tournament fishing. That was all they wanted to do. Now they're done.
Yeah,
that's right. Yep. I guarantee you, if their truck is found in a parking lot somewhere, that shit gets slashed and the damn windows knocked out. Guaranteed.
What's
David Mercer?
I can't read the comments; it's too small.
He said, it's just like my years of racing. When you win, they're going to cry and accuse. We won 34 races and 2 back-to-back championships in late model at Hickory Motor Speedway, and nobody's seen the work behind the scenes. But you were automatically cheating when you're that successful.
That's true.
Yep.
I mean, if you're not, and they accuse you, you're doing something right.
That's like the SBC, though. I still don't understand why, when you've got that kind of money on a tournament, why is it so hard? And don't threaten to do it. Because listen, my dog's being trained right now. He's got a trainer, and he was watching me, and I've got a little thing called an attention getter. And I told him, I said, he said, how many times do you threaten him with that thing? I said, I don't know, probably 100 a day if I'm here all day. He said, well, see, all that is a threat. And he said, and I'm not saying this, I'm not telling you to be mean to your dog or whoop your dog. When you're trying to get his attention and trying to get him to do something, don't threaten him. If you have to follow through with it. If he does something where you need to whoop him. Don't tell him you're going to whoop him or threaten you're going to whoop him. So what I'm trying to say is, if you say you're going to give a lie detector test, don't say maybe. Give the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Take it out of the prize winning and say, look, whoever wins this tournament, there is going to be a lie detector test given, and it will come out of the winnings. So that don't take away nothing from the director's pocket or whoever's putting the tournament on.
What's funny is
everybody honest.
They gave they failed a lie detector test in 2021, and they polygraphed both of them, and one of them failed the lie detector test. So they took the boat away. They were going to win a boat. I think it was a Ranger boat. They took it away, and they may have disqualified them. I don't remember right, but I do know that they were actually suing for defamation because they were talking about how it's ruining their reputation, that there's upstanding anglers and they do a lot for the sport, etc., and that they shouldn't be getting treated this way. And boy, that didn't work out for him at all.
I tell you, I'd be scared to death if I did a lie detector test, man. I don't know. I'd be nervous as
Yeah.
shit.
True, right?
I'd be like, man, they're gonna say I'm lying and I'm not, and my name's gonna be shit. Just because I'm all nervous as hell.
I mean, I guess that could happen. I don't know. I don't know anything about a polygraph or what it
You know,
measures.
there's a saying about a polygraph. You know, I heard my lawyer say one time, and he said that this is true. He said it don't matter. You can take them, but they won't stand up in a court of law in the United States.
I've heard that.
City, county, or federal, state level, they do not hold up in court.
It's funny that one passed and the other one didn't. I guess one was better at his lying than the other one.
Yeah.
I also heard that they never donated their fish to like soup kitchens and like food banks. You know, they said that that trail, everybody always donated their fish. Like a high percentage, like 97% of anglers always donated all of their catches to those food banks and stuff. And they said that those two guys never once.
They're throwing red flags left and right, weren't they?
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I caught walleye and I lived up north, but I don't know how hard they are to keep alive. They must be hard to have a major trail like that and they weigh in dead fish.
So I think the biggest thing with the walleye, though, is like, you know, during this time of year, or most times of year, they catch them deep, like 30, 40, 50, 60 foot. And that's why they can't keep them alive.
Yes. But in the spring, I think they can.
Yeah.
And in the spring, they still didn't donate their fish. I mean, they just...
Now, is the walleye a cold water fish, pretty much like a trout or a striper?
Yes.
Do they like cold water?
Yeah.
Yep, it's one of those mountainous species. It's, you know, it's always in there with the pike and the muskie and all that stuff Scott Perry fishes for.
They good eating too, boy.
Oh my God, I caught one in Tennessee at Loudon. Striper fishing. I caught a walleye up there, pretty good sized walleye, probably 5 pounds. And I ate it. I kept it and ate it. And yeah, that's one of the best freshwater fish I've ever eaten. I put it above crappie. Like it tasted like black bass. It kind of had that like that dense, kind of spongy almost meat texture to it. It was really good.
Well,
I
I'm gonna
caught
tell
one
you
on
that.
Hartwell. I sent you the picture of it, didn't I, Dale?
Matthew Miles, is that coming from experience?
He's talking to Benji there.
What's he talking about?
Benji said you can't tell if someone's lying during a 30-minute polygraph.
You know, you're talking about fishing though, JR. That swordfish is off the chain. If you like tuna, if you think tuna's good, try you some swordfish. It is amazing. That's an awesome.
Swordfish is amazing, absolutely.
So what do you guys think they can change? Like, what can they change to make these tournaments better? I mean, these tournaments are already awesome. I mean, they're donating to charity, you know, cancer patients, you know, they're helping people in need, etc. You know, they're helping the youth, the children. They do a lot of stuff for them.
Well, I mean, if they're given...
What can they do to help, you know, combat, you know, potential cheating?
You know, here's a solution right here. If it's a dead fish tournament, or, you know, if they're allowed to weigh in dead fish, they're not allowed to take dead fish home with them. Fucking put them in a pile and someone, you know, cuts them open at some point, and so be it, you know, or gut them all on the spot. Now, obviously, there's not enough time to gut every fish that's in line, you know, but like, if the fish is dead and you can't release them,
well, that's just gonna prevent people.
But it's gonna go through an inspection there at some point.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's for the that's just for the old school cheating method. You know, putting the lead in the belly. You know, there's other ways to cheat.
True, yeah.
Well, what other ways can you cheat?
Fishing baskets. Go out the day before, catch fish, put them in a basket. I've heard of guys having like a secret compartment built above their live well that actually house the fish, and I've heard of them actually able to exchange fish even with a cameraman on their boat. Like I've heard so many stories. There's been so many people caught cheating in tournament. Look at I mean, it wasn't long ago the crappie guy. You know, the sponsored by B&M. You know, banned for life. I don't remember how he cheated. I think he fished on another lake.
Oh yeah. That guy got caught fishing a different lake above that lake and then trailered down there or something like that. Yep. Remember that story?
Somebody videotaped him.
You reckon a lot of these people I know you say they cheat because they want the prestige, the money, whatever. But do you reckon some of them cheat just to see if they can get by with it? It's almost like a rush.
You don't know what goes in the cheater's mind. It could be for all sorts of various reasons. I really can't.
You got people that steal shit that don't need it. They just do it for the rush to see if they can get by.
I remember. I think it was Winona Ryder. It was some famous person that shoplifted, like got caught shoplifting, and she admitted that she had a problem, that she didn't need it. She was rich, but she did it for that. I guess it released dopamine. Yeah.
These guys that fish, they want to be number one. They want to be top dog. That's why they're cheating, I think. I don't think you're going to stop all cheating. It's impossible.
Yeah.
You could cut way back on it by just randomly cutting fish. There's most people, if they leave lakes, they're going to get caught. They might not get caught every tournament, but they're going to get caught. It's just like racing or anything. There's cheating going on in anything that's got money involved in it.
Yeah. It's like anything else. Also, if you got a partner and you cheat with them, at some point, someone's going to say something to someone, and that someone's going to say something to someone, and so on and so forth. And they can't keep their mouth shut about it. Yeah.
There's already like audio clips from these guys, saying all kinds of crap coming out already.
I think if you, especially with, that's a big tournament, I'm sure they got a lot of sponsorship and money, but like our small tournaments, we got 30 boats and, you're paying out almost all the money back. And you can't get a lie detector guy or nothing. You just got to do what you can do.
A lie detector guy. Yeah. Just have the tournament director do it. You can get a metal detector. You can get a metal detector on Amazon for like $20, man. So
if there was a dead fish tournament, I guarantee you you got to have a cut fish thing in there random. That's going to keep 95. If you went to like 10 weigh-ins and they never looked at your fish, so you're like, I'm going to shove some ice or sinkers down these things. But if you went to every weigh-in and they're cutting every fifth fish open, you're like, that's going to cut way back on people.
Yeah, you said that right. It would be my luck. There would be some asshole out there just put sinkers in a fish on purpose and release it, a catfish.
You better watch your back.
And then I'll end up catching the daggum thing, and the metal detector is going to pick a couple 8-ounce sinkers up in his belly, and it's going to be me. You're going to hear guys say, how many tournaments have you been effing doing this? Do you have anything to say for yourself, JR?
Hell, catfish is liable to eat license plates, sinkers, sticks.
Right.
You could probably put sinkers in a catfish and it'd still be alive. You ain't gonna kill that thing with no
everybody knows I'm not cheating. I'm coming in 48th out of 54 boats. I think it's pretty obvious I'm not cheating.
Yeah.
It don't matter what you do. Any competition, people's gonna find a way to cheat. Been doing it since the beginning of time, and you're not gonna stop it.
You said that right.
You can slow it down and control it, but you're not gonna stop it.
Yep. That is true.
All your tournaments going to be on the same lake?
I have an idea. Bring in a cameraman only for the anglers, only for the anglers at the top of the leaderboard.
But it's got to be a multi-day event, though, right?
It'll have to be a points tournament. It'll have to be like a trail, but the guys that are continuing to stay up in the points, like the top 3 guys, put a cameraman on their boat.
JR, you're talking about bringing a cameraman on so many boats, and half of these motherfuckers won't even do a lie detector. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of guys that would volunteer to, hop on someone's boat. Imagine what you would learn fishing with the top anglers. Being a cameraman.
I'm going to say there's a handful of folks that are so lucrative with where they're fishing at that they don't even want a damn camera guy on there.
This is 2022. Social media is taking over. Tournaments, everything's done on social media. Look at the Southeastern. The tournament results are on Facebook. What's his name? Adam Cook, the guy up there in Virginia that's just blowing everybody away with monster fish after monster fish every single day. He made a post yesterday asking for a he's wanting to pay someone to video his fishing trips.
Yeah, but
So
it ain't a tournament, JR.
Well, I mean, look at look at ESPN, look at the BFL, look at these the FLW, the BAS, the Bass,
That's a
BASS,
totally different species.
the Classic. There's cameramen on those boats.
And they fish 20 different lakes. They're not fishing the same 2 lakes. There's no way I'd want a cameraman on the boat with me tournament fishing. Hell no. Hell to the no.
To the no.
It's part of being up on the leaderboard, brother.
Well,
If you don't want a cameraman on your boat, stop coming in first place.
If you ever, why don't you volunteer to be on your tournament committee? Because I guarantee you probably don't have enough people on it. The people on it don't want off of it. You definitely ain't gonna
You're
get people.
probably right, because I don't even know what a tournament committee is. So
Well,
yeah, you're right.
I tell you, Patrick Miller made a statement, and he said not just, he said, and he kind of put it like this. He said, I've never worked so hard in my life being a director of a team or of a club. And he said it just seemed like nobody appreciated it. And you cannot please everybody.
No.
And he said he would never do that again.
Brian Snipes is he's the best tournament director I've seen, and I don't think anybody would cheat in his tournament, because Brian's kind of a scary guy. It's somebody you wouldn't want to mess with. I don't know if I'd want to piss him off. I don't think I wouldn't cheat just for fear of the tournament director.
But if you got some guys out there that don't give a damn who you are or how bad you are, if they gonna cheat, they gonna cheat. I mean,
yeah,
amen.
A cheater's a cheater. But let's think about this now. All 4 of us here, we talking real. At the end of the day, there probably ain't nothing that neither 4 of us have done in our life that we hadn't cheated a little bit at doing something, trying to win. And if you say you haven't, I'm saying you're a fucking liar.
I haven't. Other than pre-fishing extra, like fishing sundown 3 days. That's the only advantage I've gained.
I got caught on Lake Norman cutting up a crappie.
I'm not talking about just fishing. I'm talking about life in general.
Oh,
we all did something.
School.
And you did a little bit of something. I mean,
Yeah, I wasn't in a tournament, but the game warden caught me. He came up and he was checking my stuff, and he saw a crappie cut up in my boat and gave me a ticket I had to pay $215 for cutting a crappie up. That's how I learned that you can't chunk a crappie. You can use a crappie in North Carolina, but you have to leave the carcass intact. It has to be the whole carcass.
I think when you're cheating with other people's money, though, you take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yes. You're not only taking money from them. You're taking these guys are taking time away from their families.
Yeah.
They're taking time away from other things. Then that's really what you're taking. I don't think that they care so much about the money.
It's their hard work. Work.
Exactly.
Well, me personally, I've fished maybe 4 or 5 tournaments in my life, and mostly I was with somebody else. I don't like tournament fishing because I feel like and it ain't that I don't think I'm competitive. I don't like being on somebody else's clock where I have to be doing something, and I have to be done at a certain time. But then I got pressure on me. Well, hey, I need to win, because if I don't, somebody's going to get my money that I fucking work for.
Uh-huh.
And I'm a sore loser. I don't like losing.
I don't think anyone likes losing. If someone says they like losing, then they're lying to you.
I'm really a sore loser. And when I work for something, I'm just putting it on the line on what a fish is going to do.
Well, when going back to JR's question, have you ever noticed anybody winning a lot? Like, when we would have 10 or 12 tournaments a year, somebody doing really good would win 3. Like, you never seen anybody even the best fishermen didn't win every time. It just didn't happen.
Let me ask y'all a question. And for anybody, how many viewers we got, JR?
28.
Damn, drama. Anyway, and I want y'all to listen to this real close, and the viewers too. I had to go up to Chuck Wilkins' lake house yesterday, and when I got done, I was sitting there at the table and I was talking to him. And I said, Your Honor, what are you working on now? Because he's a lawyer now, but he's an ex-federal judge, retired. So I still address him as Your Honor, but his name's Billy Wilkins. So I said, Your Honor, I said, what are you working on now? And he said, I'm actually working on a case about a machine, and I forgot, I think it's somewhere here in South Carolina, where a judge ordered that the machine be possessed and destroyed. But the judge wrote the order, and the thing was, okay, is it considered a game of skill? Should you win money if you got a certain skill level, or is it gambling? So he was reading back in the statute, and some of the old statutes read, and I never knew this, but it was kind of crazy. He said there should be no gambling in the kitchen, in the work fields, or the barn. These laws are still on the statute of South Carolina. And he said, Wes, do you know why those are there? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't have a clue. He said, well, those laws were put in place back in slavery because they didn't want the slaves or anybody else working. They didn't want them gambling. So where does work go on at the kitchen? Where does work go on at in the fields? Where does work go on at the barn? They were not allowed, so it was considered gambling. So now he asked me about fishing, and I said, Your Honor, I don't tournament fish. I don't really know. Well, he asked me, he said, so what's your opinion? He said, when you fish a tournament, when people pay their money to fish a tournament, he said, do you consider that gambling, or do you consider that a game of skill? I really didn't know how to answer that, because some people just say, well, yeah, I'm gambling on the skill that I'm going to do better and I'm going to catch more fish than this person. But at the end of the day, I would say then, somebody else would say, well, no, you're gambling that you're going to do better than this person. So my question is to y'all, is it gambling? Is when you enter a fishing tournament, is it gambling, or are you betting on skill?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is gambling. However, your most purest gamblers, those are the guys that you see up on the casino betting on the NFL Sunday game. Those are the guys that, like, the most fishing you're going to actually see these guys do are carp legs.
It's just a scenario, because
Right.
the video games, the judge ordered that these games be removed and destroyed. So Judge
tournaments, they
So
bring
what
in too much
I'm saying
money. They bring in
But
too
you're
much
betting,
money.
though, right? I mean, if me and you and Pete, say me and you beat Scott, we meet at the boat ramp in the morning. I put $100 up. Pete puts 100, and you put 100. I put 100, and I'm saying I'm betting I'm going to catch more fish than y'all, or I'm saying I've got more skill than y'all to catch a bigger fish. What's the difference? I'm still betting, ain't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we all know that fishing is mostly luck, It's all it takes is one sometimes. One fish.
As far as mostly, I don't know about. It's definitely luck is definitely involved. As far as how much luck, I don't know. That's up in the air. But tournaments are a good thing. People come. They get hotels. They go to restaurants. They go to tackle shops. They do a lot for charities. It's
I did know when you had a tournament. You have a tournament trail. You got 10% of the people finish in the top 3. I mean, you got guys.
Nobody still answered my question. Are we gambling, or are we betting, or are we trying to win money on skill, or are we trying to win money gambling?
We're trying to win money on skill for sure, 100%.
Okay.
I mean, if I enter the catfish tournament against the best catfishermen around, they're going to beat me 90% of the time because they have more skill at catching turds.
Yeah.
But that goes back to, you made a wager, though, didn't you? When you put your money up saying, no, I'm going to take a chance, or I'm taking a chance on beating you.
No, I didn't bet them. I entered the tournament. I didn't bet them, but I beat them. I entered the tournament.
And they did too.
Have you ever fished a tournament where you have an entry fee and then you have a group of 6 friends that puts in $20 together and say, hey, the top dog from us 6 right here keeps the money? Well, there you go. Yeah. So you're going against skill, and then you're gambling with your group of 6 friends too. So you can do both, right?
Well, then look at bingo. I asked him, I said, Your Honor, there's bingo parlors all over South Carolina. Ain't that legal? He said, all that is legalized gambling.
Yeah, it is. But there are, bigger forms of gambling out there. Just like Joey Moore said said. Gambling on your skills versus someone else's skills.
Yeah.
I don't even know why gambling's illegal. If you're an idiot, then let them lose all their money. Who cares?
People have families, Scott. People have
Fueling the addiction, huh?
They should pick their families over scratch.
they can't control them smoking meth, but they can control how much they gamble to an
I
extent.
say
No,
give
they
them all
can't.
back. They can smoke too. I don't care. Let them smoke till they.
You ain't gonna stop gambling. If somebody wants to gamble bad enough, they're gonna find somebody and something to bet on. It ain't got to be just a machine.
Clinton Lassard said skill is entering the tournament. Calcuttas are gambling on yourself.
I think you can't have raffles. It's illegal to have raffles, I believe.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
You mean Chris Ovis was breaking the law?
He never called it raffles.
What? Blueberries.
So one thing I want to add too, and kind of come to mind here all of a sudden, talking about ways to prevent cheating and all that good stuff. King mackerel tournaments, as you know, I do a good fair share of them.
Bougie Kingfish.
Bougie King, that's right. They have that shit down to a T. Like there's really no way you can ever get caught cheating in king mackerel tournament because you weigh the fish and you have the weight master right there that looks at the fish, looks in the mouth. One time I brought a fish up to the scales that had a trouble like deep in the throat. He found it, pulled it out, and then weighed it. All is a simple little treble hook. So be it. No harm, no foul. But once they weigh it, they push it down to the next guy, and the next guy tags it and guts it right there on the spot. And so, he runs a knife through the gut and pulls all the gut contents out, and then from there it looks good, and then he pushes it to the next guy, and they throw it in the back of a truck, or if it's a leading fish, they throw it in a little display case, whatever. But that's what they do in king mackerel tournaments. All of them, everyone I fished, they do exactly that.
Because it's big money. That's the way it should be.
Yep.
Because I guarantee somebody cheat at one of them tournaments if they could.
Oh, you're damn right. Yeah.
Peter don't look like I'm gonna make it to the charcoal tomorrow. Frying pan tower, I checked wind finder today. Frying pan towers, 3.5 to 4 footers at 2 seconds apart.
Has it changed again? Damn it, bro.
Yeah. So I think we might find the 390s tomorrow. I doubt anything's out there.
Not to change the subject, but this time of year, I never trust anything in the forecast that's got a northeast in it. Ever.
Yeah, we're going out to look anyway. So.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well,
what's your idea as far as how we fix it, JR? I mean, you've asked us several times, but what is your thought on how to prevent all this?
I said it. Leaderboard. The top
camera guys,
the top anglers on the leaderboard. Yeah,
you just want job security is what it is. Okay, is that what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough. Hey, things are going in that direction.
JR, would you do it? Would you volunteer to do it, or would you want to get paid for it?
No, I would volunteer to do it. That maybe they could, on their website, they could have like an application for you to like throw your name in a pot to be selected. If you get selected to be a cameraman on one of the guys in the say the top 3 on the points championship, hey JR, we got Wiley on the 5th coming up. Would you mind being a cameraman on so and so's boat? And
I'll tell you what.
Hey, Scott, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Mr. Berry.
Oh boy.
Why do you think that the SBC will not do lie detector, and do you think they should?
Oh, definitely they should. I think the people running the tournament are not tournament people. They're business people. They don't.
I think the biggest thing is lie detectors is money. It's going to cost some out of pocket, and so therefore that takes money.
Hold on, I'm pretty sure on the SBC's website they say that they actually give a lie detector. Am I wrong?
No, it says maybe. Don't say for sure.
Okay.
That's why that was that thing. Do you remember when you came to my house year before last year and interviewed me before we was able to do stuff like this? And you asked me about the SBC and the lie detector, and I said, and nothing against the SBC. It's a great tournament. They have the food drive. Everything they do is awesome. All I said was, I don't understand why they won't give lie detector tests every time. And then Brian Bear blows up and says I said he was cheating, And I actually said Brian Bear was a great fisherman. He won it. But I said I wouldn't have cared if I would have won it. I would have wanted a lie detector test, but so people don't say down the road, well, I wonder if West Rose cheated. That son of a bitch can't fish. He probably cheated. You know,
What's
I would
Thomas
have
J.
wanted a lie
Walker
detector
talking about? He said tournaments should do the deeder. That'll fix it all.
Yeah.
What is he talking about?
Stick your finger up their butthole. That's what I'm guessing.
Yes, that's good, John.
I don't think you could ever keep cheating out of a catfish tournament because you could just put them on the bank and then go back and get them the next day.
That's right. That's right. What's your thoughts on this, doing live release tournaments? Meaning, you know, I did my first one back in April, I think it was, or somewhere thereabouts. And it was kind of fun, shocking enough, down in Bugs Island. But get your measuring board and then the actual ticket, whatever, that's got to be included in the photo. And you throw the fish in the board, take the picture, and let it go.
I love that. I mean, but I have an idea. Listen to this. You just made me think of it, Peter. Okay, you know how the kayak fishermen are doing? They got the bump boards. Yeah, they're taking the picture and they put like a playing card, or they give the something in the picture to confirm that it was taken that that day or
exactly
during that tournament. What do you think about having one fish? You keep one fish, the biggest fish. That's the only fish you keep. Only for aesthetics for the tournament. So you can pick that fish up and you can weigh it in front of everybody, like the bass tournaments do, how they hold the fish up, in the tournament. One fish, you keep one fish, no matter what kind of tournament it is, catfish, stripe, it doesn't matter. You keep only every other fish you measure, like you were talking about, but you keep one just for the aesthetics of just
that's a pretty good idea. And the only issue with this whole live release thing, it's a great idea and all, but it's like, you can get a 29-inch fish that weighs less than a dang 27-inch fish, and so that's where the issue lies. You're fishing for a long, skinny fish versus an actual.
Right. Well, they'll have to put that into the rules or the bylaws, and that could happen. It probably won't, but it could happen. There could be an instance where a fish that is longer but weighs less wins. That needs to be in the rules.
Yeah.
Well, hey, when I went and fished that tournament last year in New York with Chuck Hyman, me and Todd Asher went up there and fished that tournament in New York. They did a thing where the way it was set up, when you caught a fish, you had a boat number. You had a tape measure that they give you and had big numbers on it. So you had to put that fish and right below those numbers, so the numbers could be seen, so they couldn't, you couldn't put the fish over the numbers because then they could think you could manipulate the numbers. Don't know how you could do that, but anyway. So just do a CPR and do everything by length. Hey, somebody might get lucky. Hey, my fish was bigger, but my fish was longer. You know what I'm saying? Just do a CPR, and then you got.
If it went to that format, it wouldn't be based off of weight; it'd be based off of length, obviously.
Exactly.
But you wouldn't do away with fish baskets, right?
I mean, you'd be noticeable, maybe, right? Don't fish that come out of fish baskets get beat up and red and all that shit, So
that's just a judgment call. That you can't say you cheated.
You can Photoshop that.
Yeah.
Well, but now there again, that was New York. We went. I think the smallest fish we didn't catch that under 30 pounds. Everything was real long and skinny. I think that fish Maddox cost was like 56 inches.
I think it's going to come down to. Long. People are going to do what they want to do. It's almost like getting married, and you can't make the person not cheat on you. They're going to do what they want to do. I mean,
true.
It's the same thing. I mean, if they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat. There's really nothing we can really do to stop it 100%. It's going to happen. It's just part of it. It's collateral damage. We just have to keep moving forward.
It seems to me that this to be such a big tournament where they're giving away boats and thousands of dollars if they had their head up their ass, letting people weigh in dead fish and carry them home with them. That's fucking retarded.
Well, like I was saying earlier, it's a slippery slope. You can't. The tournament director can't. You don't just accuse someone and make them.
Don't let nobody carry them home.
The winners automatically take a polygraph. That was in that loot. The Lake Erie Walleye Tournament Trail, whatever loot. That was in their rules that the winners take a polygraph. So that's in the rules. That's not That's not showing special treatment. That's not singling out. I mean, they took a polygraph. They had to take a polygraph when they won. But as far as accusing someone, that's a very slippery slope. You can't, like I was talking about earlier, you can't accuse someone, because if you accuse someone and you end up being wrong, that destroys the whole tournament circuit.
Random cut. I'm talking about random cutting fish.
Mm-hmm.
They're dead already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, hey,
I agree with
if you're
that.
doing a tournament and the fish are dead or it's dead, they don't have to be alive. They're all dead. How much longer would it take to cut the gut of every one of them anyway? I mean, how do you have somebody cutting them, have somebody checking them, somebody cutting them, somebody checking them?
It's a combination of many variables. A lot of times you get a line that builds up, behind you, and some of these folks got live fish in the bag. So the longer it takes, the less of a chance that live fish gets back in the water, and that's what you're trying to promote overall. So let's say you take a minute or two to cut open 3 or 4 fish. Now, you build that up over time, and now you're worried about these fish that are behind you that are not going to survive.
Okay, so if you do that, then say you cut 3 fish out of 100. You got what? 90. You only got a 97% chance of catching the damn cheater.
But we cut odd or even. We cut almost half of them, and then with the live fish, if you had live fish, it was announced you come to the front of the line. Like people with coolers had to wait. Live fish always wait in first. That helps.
Nice. I like that. Well, guys, this has been a terrific show.
Oh God, here we go.
Carry on. I'm gonna chill for a minute. Go ahead.
What's he yapping about?
He's ready to go to bed. I'm tired.
It's an hour-long show. It's been an hour. I mean, we could keep going. That's fine.
Joey, sometimes we get most of our viewers at 20 after.
Well, we're holding strong at 25 viewers right now.
Well, I'll be in the Gulf of Mexico Saturday.
You guys that are still watching, how about hitting that like button if you don't mind? Me and Wes.
And ring the bell. Ring the bell.
We don't get many likes. We get just a couple of likes. So if you could just hit that like button, and we like having, we're not trying to be too, vain, and we don't really care about all of that kind of stuff. But if you could just hit that like button, maybe we could get more than 4 viewers.
We want likes. Millions of them.
All right, look, the likes went up. That's 14 likes. It went up from 6 likes to 14, instantly. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
So, Scott, before we get off here, tell us where you're going this weekend.
I'm going to Destin, Florida.
Oh, boy.
What you going to fish for, Scott? Taking
Whatever.
your boat?
You hiring a charter, huh?
Whatever. Huh?
You hiring a charter over there, huh?
No. Taking the bean.
Are you going to take the bean?
Yeah, I take it every year.
Yeah. Well, no, not every year. You've taken your last boat.
Do what?
You're not scared to put the bean in salt water?
Electrolysis. What is it called? Yeah.
You know that all them boats, 90% of them live in salt water. So, no, I'm not worried about carrying it there once a year.
90% of North River's sold vessels live in saltwater. Is that true, or are you talking out your?
No, that's pretty much Oregon coast. That's where they're made. That's where they go out of California and Oregon tuna fishing.
Pacific tuna fishing. I thought they did like salmon fishing up rivers and stuff.
They do salmon fish certain time of year, but then they tuna. I posted a bunch of pictures from a bunch of tuna fish in North Rivers the other day, messing with. I was trying to tag you and West, but it wouldn't let me tag you.
They must not have to go out very far west.
Hey.
You ever watch Deadliest Catch? That's off the Pacific.
Hey, before we go, though, there was something I was wanting to ask. What is the best thing to clean the floor of my boat? It is fiberglass. It's got kind of like
bleach.
But, everybody says, some people say bleach, some people say no.
I'm gonna tell you the best way to clean the boat, hands down. Okay, take my word on this. Take my advice. This works amazing. Okay, undeniable. You bring someone with you that's good at cleaning the boat. Works every damn time. So after a fishing trip, we all have little jobs. My job is clean the fish, and everyone else's job is to clean the damn boat. So by the time we're done cleaning the fish, the boat's clean. Voila, everyone's happy. We go home.
I had a white center console for 15 years. You know what gets blood out of it better than anything?
Bleach.
The sun.
It does, actually. So over time, the sun will get rid of the blood, but it may leave a little outline on there. But you still want to scrub that dang thing. Bleach.
Well,
I'm gonna tell you what works very well, actually. And it's just you're gonna have to put some gel coat on there at some point or spray, whatever. But get that dang cheap $1.50 spray bottle, 10% bleach from Walmart. That works really good, really good.
And I think I have noticed something.
What
I
are
have
you talking
bleached my
about?
boat before. I had a Sea Hunt and the Sea Pro boat. I bleached them before when the sun wasn't out and it didn't do much. But if you put bleach on that fiberglass while it's hot and the sun's out, it seems like it does a lot better. I don't know if the sun activates something in the bleach, but it cleans a lot better when the sun's out than it does if you bleach one out on a cloudy day.
Well, glass
So that's
boats
why-
have life expectancy anyways. They're only going to get a few years out of them, so it don't matter.
Do I know?
I'm sorry. What did you
Glass
say?
Glass boats.
What kind of dumbass shit did you just say?
They don't last forever. They deteriorate every year. So I mean,
okay. Tell that to all these 1960 Boston whalers you see out
you're living on time. They got wooden floors on them.
What do you think those girls that went famous in the Haulover Inlet, jumping 10-footers, going 20 feet up in the air, hull crackers?
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. What were they in?
Blue topper
They were a Boston whaler.
in a fucking skiff like a bunch of jackasses going through
A metal boat sucks. They're loud. They're not safe. They're not as safe. They're not as comfortable.
Hey Wes, I gotta go.
They're lighter. They're easier to tow. That's about it. That's about all you got on them.
It's fine.
Other than that, they win in every other category.
Well, hey,
Whoever No-Go Life is, I want to say I am not fishing the Open this weekend. I was going to fish it last weekend, but it canceled. I got my money back, and I got too much on my plate this weekend, so no tournaments.
well,
this weekend.
JR, hey, I just got one question.
What?
Damn, I forgot what oh, yeah. Hey, I just got one question.
Okay.
On those Abu reels,
Uh-huh.
I know you keep talking. I haven't never asked you this, and I'm not really trying to start nothing because I know you've been drinking a little bit. But
I already have a retort for you, but go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm going to let you say
what
what
is
you got to
so
say, and then I'll
important? I mean,
instant retort.
okay, and there again, when I'm fishing, when I'm cut baiting,
Mm-hmm.
what is this thing about precision casting? Because
Precision
when I'm
casting.
cut baiting, I can chunk a piece of trout on a torium or a dial of saltis just
Yeah,
about anywhere I want to.
You're not going to cast it as far, and you won't be as accurate.
But why? If I'm in a boat, why do I have to worry about casting 400 or 500 feet?
Because you may want to fish a couple of different sources of structure at the same time.
Well, where I fish in Tennessee, I can stand on any bank in Tennessee and cast to the other side with a torium.
Yeah, well, in that situation, torium's all you need. If you can cast all the way across the lake, and that's
But now here's the
that's
catch
not where
though.
I fish.
You cast. The further you cast, the more that Abu Garcia is going to struggle to get a fish back to the boat. If you cast that thing over 150 or 200 feet, you're not subject to getting a big fish in with 15 pounds of drag, are you?
Yeah, nobody fights fish at 15 pounds of drag. I mean, that's way too much drag to be fighting a fish. I mean, if I have to handline a fish, I'll handline a fish in. I don't care, but I want to put that bait where I want to put that bait.
But JR, go to my page and look at that king screaming the drag on that pin sport fisher I got last year.
Spin fisher.
Yeah.
Learn the name of your reels, guy.
Whatever. I don't ever use it. I look at it.
Oh gosh, I love this show.
All right,
guys.
guys. Well, I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
No,
You ain't got to. You just want to. Why you gotta get up at 4 o'clock?
Why you always trying to get off?
Why you gotta get up at 4 o'clock to go 8 fucking miles out? Come on. You don't need to.
Well, I got to go pick Anson up. We're going to go grab something to eat and run down to the bait shop and grab some bait. And,
Drink 4 cups of coffee.
yeah, I'm going to go to the cafe. And so, yeah.
I'll call you at 4 in the morning, Wes. Make sure you're up.
I'll bet you want. Hey, Scott, if you don't mind, if you would call me in the morning, I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Go get you a sausage biscuit.
See ya.
Party and talk to those old men, Wes.
Hey, everybody, y'all have a good night, guys. Peace, Scott. It's good to see y'all.
Good night,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Thanks for watching Real Fisherman. We'll see you next week.
Stay out of trouble. See you.
Peace.